Well, here we go again. Another day, another royal commentator proving that when it comes to Harry and Meghan Sussex, hypocrisy truly knows no bounds. This time, it's Lee Cohen, a man who never misses an opportunity to insult, degrade, and dismiss the Sussexes for simply existing outside the mould the British establishment built for them. Cohen went online, proudly tweeting yet another bitter line about the couple, saying, and I quote, "Why should a pair of vindictive grifters who work in the service of nothing and no one but themselves enjoy these honours that are gifts from the nation they left behind and traduced?" Yes, that's Lee Cohen, calling Harry and Meghan vindictive grifters. He even bragged that it was part of his latest piece for The Spectator, that ever so familiar playground for Sussex critics. But what happened next exposed exactly what kind of man Lee Cohen really is. A man who can attack others with venom, but can't take a single drop of the same medicine himself. When a Harry and Meghan supporter replied to him, challenging his hateful rhetoric and defending the Sussexes, Cohen couldn't handle it. He didn't engage, he didn't debate, he didn't stand by his own words. No, he blocked her, just like that. And then dismissed her as an obvious bot, no follower, bye. Imagine that. The same man who spends his career criticising others for being too sensitive, who mocks Meghan Sussex for standing up to online hate, suddenly finds himself blocking a woman for doing exactly what he does, speaking her mind. So today, we're going to talk about what really happened here, why this moment matters, and what it says about the double standards that still surround Harry and Meghan Sussex. Follow Celebrity Scoop for such interesting highlights, because this one right here is a perfect example of how the critics of Harry and Meghan always end up exposing themselves. Lee Cohen calls himself a royal commentator, a man supposedly dedicated to objective insight on royal affairs. But if you've followed him for even a day, you know his commentary is anything but royal. It's personal. His words drip with resentment. Every tweet, every line in his articles seems fueled not by journalism, but by bitterness. Calling Harry and Meghan vindictive grifters is not commentary. It's not journalism. It's hate disguised as opinion. And yet, Cohen has built an entire persona around doing exactly that, attacking two people who left an environment of harassment and chose peace. But here's the twist of irony. The moment someone gives Cohen a taste of that same criticism, he suddenly turns fragile. The man who thinks Meghan Sussex plays the victim becomes the victim himself. He sees one strong woman disagree with him, a fan who stood up and said, "You're wrong." And instead of engaging with her words, he hides. He blocks her. He labels her an obvious bot, as if her disagreement can't possibly come from a real person. That's the arrogance of someone who lives in an echo chamber. He assumes that anyone defending Meghan Sussex must be fake, robotic, programmed, because he can't fathom that millions of people actually support her, genuinely, passionately, and with reason. Cohen's reaction is the embodiment of projection. He calls others fragile snowflakes, but melts the moment he's challenged. He claims Meghan and Harry can't take criticism, yet he couldn't even handle a single tweet. Let's be honest, this isn't new. It's a pattern we've seen time and again with royal commentators who've turned criticising Meghan Sussex into their full-time occupation. They throw stones from glass houses, and when someone throws one back, suddenly it's too much. They demand that Meghan ignore every insult, every lie, every smear, that she smile and rise above it. Yet when a fan politely or passionately calls out their hypocrisy, it's trolling. When Meghan speaks her truth in an interview, it's whining. But when they rant online about her, it's journalism. Lee Cohen's block button is more than just a social media action. It's a symbol of the weakness hiding behind all that bluster. It's proof that his bravery only exists when his targets can't respond. It's easy to be tough when you're attacking someone from behind a screen, someone famous who will never tweet back. But face a real person who calls you out, and suddenly the courage evaporates. That fan's tweet was powerful not because it was loud, but because it was true. She reminded Cohen that he'd crossed a moral line, comparing Meghan and Harry to a man accused of crimes against minors. She called it out for what it was: slime. She said, "Be more like Jesus." And Cohen's response was to block her. That says everything. You see, the deeper issue here isn't just about one block or one tweet. It's about a power dynamic that's been playing out since Harry and Meghan Sussex first dared to live life on their own terms. The British media, and its chorus of commentators like Lee Cohen, thrive on control. They want to dictate the narrative. They want Harry and Meghan to stay silent, obedient, and grateful. But when Meghan speaks, when she tells her truth, when she stands up for herself, when she refuses to be humiliated, they call it arrogance. They call it victimhood. They call it playing the race card. And yet, here we are. The same commentators who tell Meghan Sussex to toughen up are the ones blocking random users on X because they can't handle a few words of pushback. Lee Cohen's hypocrisy is part of a larger sickness in the way some people treat Harry and Meghan. It's rooted in entitlement, the belief that they should take abuse quietly while the critics bask in applause for delivering it. But when those critics are held accountable, they cry foul, they hide, they block. This is why Meghan Sussex's stance matters. This is why Harry's protection of his wife and family matters. Because every time they choose compassion over cruelty, grace over gossip, and peace over performance, they expose the emptiness of people like Cohen. Let's talk about The Spectator for a moment, the outlet that Cohen often writes for. It's known for giving space to reactionary voices, for amplifying outrage under the guise of debate. And Cohen fits right in. But isn't it interesting that for all his talk about freedom of speech, he shuts down the speech of others? He preaches open discussion, but not when that discussion threatens his ego. When you think about it, Lee Cohen's entire brand depends on Harry and Meghan Sussex existing. Without them, what would he even talk about? He doesn't generate love, he generates negativity. His attention comes not from his insight, but from his anger. That's why he attacks them, because he needs them. Every insult he writes is a silent confession that he's obsessed with them, and obsession dressed up as criticism is still obsession. Now let's pause and think about Meghan Sussex herself. For years, she's been the target of people like Cohen. They've called her every name, questioned every motive, and twisted every act of kindness into something sinister. Yet through it all, Meghan remains calm. She doesn't block the world. She sets boundaries. There's a difference. Blocking is an act of fear. Boundaries are an act of strength. When Lee Cohen blocks someone for disagreeing with him, he's retreating. When Meghan Sussex walks away from toxicity, she's choosing peace. That's the difference between ego and evolution. And Harry, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, stands right beside her. His strength has never been in shouting back. It's been in protecting what matters. Their love, their children, their sanity. Those are the real honours, not the honours Cohen ranted about. Cohen mocked them for working in service of no one but themselves. But that's false. Harry and Meghan Sussex serve humanity through philanthropy, compassion and advocacy. They've uplifted women, veterans and communities in need. They've used their voices to highlight issues that most royal commentators wouldn't dare touch, because empathy doesn't sell as well as scandal. What Lee Cohen did on X might seem small, but symbolically, it's huge. It's the moment the mask slips. It's when the bully reveals his fragility. When you insult others for sport, but can't handle being called out, you lose credibility. Cohen wants to appear as a voice of reason, but all he's done is prove that he can't live up to his own rhetoric. And that's the lesson here. The truth always finds a way to surface. Cohen's block exposed the insecurity behind his cruelty. It showed that his criticism isn't born from conviction. It's born from resentment. He doesn't hate Harry and Meghan because of who they are. He hates them because of what they represent: freedom, independence, and moral courage. Harry and Meghan Sussex walked away from the institution. They reclaimed their narrative. They chose love over protocol. And that's something people like Cohen can't stand, because it reminds them of what they'll never have: peace of mind. So what have we learned from this? That the loudest critics often have the thinnest skin, that those who throw stones can't stand to be hit back, and that behind every royal expert spewing bitterness, there's usually a fragile ego desperate for attention. COHEN tried to frame Harry and Meghan Sussex as unworthy of honour, but in truth, he stripped himself of dignity the moment he blocked a woman for speaking truth to him. He showed that he's not strong, he's scared, not insightful, but insecure. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan continue to move forward, unfazed. They keep building, keep loving, keep thriving, while their critics unravel over tweets. That's the real story. Not that a royal commentator insulted them, but that his own behaviour revealed everything he accused them of being. Vindictive? No, that's him. Fragile? That's him. Obsessed? Absolutely him. So next time someone tells you that Meghan Sussex can't take criticism, remember this. She's still standing tall while her critics are hiding behind the block button, because at the end of the day, the truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to be seen. And right now, the world can see it clearer than ever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this highlight and believe in truth over toxicity, make sure to follow Celebrity Scoop for such interesting highlights. We'll keep shining the light where others spread the shade. Because when it comes to Harry and Meghan Sussex, their grace keeps exposing the hypocrisy that surrounds them, one blocked critic at a time.